Hello, anyone not still living in the 1970s? We interrupt your day to bring you this announcement. Husker Ninja is in the building. Alright, guys, we are here today with episode number 31 of the South Alabama Jaguars Online Dynasty here on NCAA 14. And today we close the book on Season 2. We're going to take a look at the Season 2 recap. We'll look at the schedules, award winners, all that jazz, and get ready for the offseason at a later, or in the next video, actually. But you can see we had a successful season. Our combined opponent's record was 86-76. You can see we started out beating Troy 45-0 in the rivalry game. We won 42-10 at Kansas and 38-7 against East Carolina. Then we had a bye week, beat Memphis at home 35-14, won at SMU 24-7. And so we started out 5-0. Then we lost at Texas State in the third user game of the Dynasty. Then we had a 3-game stretch of very close games. We won by 7 at Cincinnati. We beat USF by 2 on a last-second field goal. And we won by 7 against UCF in a game where the game winner ended up being a pick 6 by Kerry Green. It was a true freshman's first career pick 6. And then after that game, we went through that 3-game stretch of close games, and we blew out our final 3 regular season opponents. 31-0 at UConn, 40-10 at Notre Dame, and 49-0 against Navy on Senior Day. So we had 2 shutouts in the final 3 regular season games, and that set us up for a rematch in the conference title game, which we lost on a heartbreaker against Texas State for our 4th total loss in the Dynasty. All 4 of them have been to Texas State. We are 0-4 in user games and now 24-0 in games against the CPU after we beat West Virginia 24-6 in the Fiesta Bowl in what was the final game as a Jaguar for several key members, including Andrew Rinkemeyer, the tight end, and quarterback Evan Orth. Orth and Rinkemeyer connected for 2 touchdowns in that final quarter as South Alabama was able to pull away, and we sent the seniors out with a BCS win. You can see, again, some of the stats from that game. Just very efficient all around for everybody. And that was what our schedule looked like. A bunch of wins, but 2 losses against Texas State for the 2nd consecutive year. As now we're going to check the bowl results. You can pause and see how your favorite team did if you saw them. I'm not going to spend too much time focusing on them, but you can see SMU lost to Boise State, and that was the first American team in a bowl game. You can see Notre Dame lost to Oregon. And not too many shockers here so far from what I'm seeing. Nebraska loses to Washington. We beat West Virginia. You saw that already. And then, Texas State wins the national championship. So the first user champion of the Dynasty is my friend Kalen. He gets Texas State the championship in year 2, wraps up a 14-0 season once again. Has not lost in this Dynasty, and he took down Bama 31-17. That was a game that I went over and I watched him play. Want to see the users win the national championship if we can't. You can see, he put up 454 yards of offense against Bama. And so it was an impressive game to watch. I'm not going to lie about that. But now we check the final coaches poll. Texas State won. We're in at number 6. That's impressive. And just running down the rest of the top 25 here for you real quick. you can see who dropped out and who's still receiving votes. As we move on to the Heisman winner, that would be Robert Brown of Texas State. His quarterback was also in there. And you can see first team All-Americans. We got Kawan Baker in as a first team. We got Tyree Turner in as a first team. And I can agree with those picks. Those two were key contributors for us all season. Second team All-American, you got Andrew Rinkemeyer at tight end. You got Bull Barge at middle linebacker. So you've had some key contributors here. Nigel Lawrence, a strong safety, also gets second team All-American honors. As we take a look at the All-American freshman team, right on through, you're going to see Kerry Green makes it. He had 7 interceptions his true freshman season, so definitely deserving of the All-American freshman team right there. And now we're going to take a look at all-conference. First team, you got Baker, Rinkemeyer, left tackle Noah Fisher. Turner's a first team all-conference, as is Nigel Lawrence and Gavin Patterson, the kicker. Defensively, second team wise, you got Evan Orth at quarterback, second team all-conference. You got Grimsey, the left tackle, Alexander, the right tackle. Sean Drayer's in as a second team all-conference, as is Bull Barge and Riley Cole. So 2/3 of the linebacking core, second team all-conference. You get Darian Mills and Jalen Thompson, second team all-conference at free safety and cornerback respectively. Thompson finished his career strong. He had a nice finish to his senior season. But personally, I would have given Kerry Green the all-conference spot over Thompson, but that's just me. You can see we're running through the award winners right now. Baker finished 8th in the Walter Camp Award. Green finishes 4th in the Bednarik. And so, yeah, you can see he had 7 interceptions. He was up there in the NCAA. I think he finished tied for second with 7 interceptions. He was right there in the running for the Bednarik. And you're going to see, I think he's in the running for the Thorpe as well. So he's up there, and he is not getting second team all-conference. I find that questionable, but that's just me. You can see Baker does win the Biletnikoff. I believe I mentioned that in the bowl game. Rinkemeyer finishes 3rd in the Mackey. So he won the Mackey last year, finishes 3rd this season. As we're going through some of the rest of the award spots, looking for if we had any Jaguars even in the voting for it, if they were finalists or not. Barge finished 7th for best linebacker. So the junior middle linebacker had a nice season filling in for last year's key cog on defense, Darrell Songy. You can see Green does finish 3rd for the Thorpe. So he's 3rd for the Thorpe and 4th in the Bednarik, but he can't even be second team all-conference. Seems a little questionable to me still. That pick does not make too much sense personally if you ask me, but it is what it is. Still a good season. And now we move on to season stats. Orth, a 165.8 QB rating. He went 227 of 360 for 3,433 yards, 37 touchdowns, 17 picks. Completed 33% of his passes. Trey Minner had 277 carries, 1,302 yards, 10 touchdowns. He did have a fumble, but he averaged 4.7 yards a carry. You had Orth with 76 carries, 379 yards, 6 touchdowns. Foster had 50 for 301 and 2 scores, averaged 6 yards a carry there. Receiving wise, Kawan Baker led the team in receptions. He had 109 for 1,798 yards and 19 touchdowns. He wins the Biletnikoff. And yeah, a very good season for Baker. He did have 22 drops, which is a lot, when you take into account that he also had 109 receptions. Understandably, there are going to be some drops in there. Rinkemeyer had 77 catches for 1,210 yards and 11 touchdowns. So 2,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher for this offense. No one else after Rinkemeyer had more than 10. Minner had 10 for 77 in a score. Harris had 10 for 68 in a score. And McCray had 10 catches, 2 touchdowns. So a large chunk of the passing game was two guys in Rinkemeyer and Baker. Defensively, Barge leads in tackles. You can see we're running down, looking pretty evenly spread in tackles, honestly. There wasn't one who had a bunch and then a lot who didn't have any. If you look tackles for loss, Grayer and Turner both had 17, Barge 16, Stewart 12. Sacks, Grayer had 12, Turner 11, Barge 4, Stewart 3. Look at interceptions, Green led the team with 7, Thompson had 5, Flott and Lawrence had 4, Barge had 2, Stewart, Mills, and Cole each had 1. Then you want to look deflection, Jalen Thompson had 9 pass breakups, Flott had 5, no one else had more than 2. Forced fumbles, Barge, Watley, Cole, and Thompson. Fumble recovery was Grayer. That was in the end zone against Navy just before halftime. If you remember that. And then Grayer had the fumble recovery for a touchdown, and Green had his pick 6 against UCF. Those are our 2 defensive scores on the year. As we move on to kicking, Gavin Patterson's a senior. He had himself a nice senior season. 18 of 21. Long of 50, made all of his extra points. So that was I think 84% of his kicks he made, something like that. A nice season for him. We're going to miss him next year. And we're going to have to try and find a replacement in recruiting still. And now we're going to take a look at some of the league leaders. You can see Orth in the top 10 in QB rating, in the top 10 in completions, not in attempts. So that's pretty good. You look passing yards, he is 5th with 3,433, obviously. He's 3rd in passing touchdowns. He threw 35, 6 behind Sam Darnold, who had the most. Look at interceptions, he had 17, which is kind of a lot, but it's not awful either. There are several who only had 1 interception. Completion percentage, Orth is in the top 10 there. He's at 63 with that. And looking at sort of who took the most sacks. And then we move on to rushing. You can see Robert Brown of Texas State led the nation in carries, but Minner was 5th. So he was up there too. Rushing yardage-wise, Brown led with 2,042, and Minner was down there a little bit. He had just over 1,300. You can see there he is right there. Now we move on to the yards per carry. Jones, the third of Texas State, the quarterback, had averaged 7.4 yards a carry. Robert Brown had 46 rushing touchdowns. The next most was Scarborough with 17, but 46 rushing touchdowns for Brown. That's a lot. That's actually very impressive. You can see who had the most fumbles, who had the least. We move on to receiving. Baker led in receptions. He beat out Miami, Ohio's James Gardner by 2. Gardner had 107. Baker again with 109. Receiving yardage-wise, Baker first, Rinkemeyer 5th. Receiving touchdowns, Baker's first. So he led in each of the 3 main categories: receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Yards after catch goes to Gardner. And drops, I'm going to assume Baker has a lead in that. Yes, he does. It is not great, but, he's also got 2 years left to trim down the drops a little bit, improve those hands. But he won the Blitnikoff, so you can't really ask for too much more there. And now we're going to look at some of the tackling leaders and see sort of who has the most. Is Key from LSU with 117. There are a few who had over 100. If you look at solo tackles, though, You've got the top three are all Texas State. Barge is fourth in solo tackles. So 4 Texas State players in the top 5 in solo tackles, and Barge is fourth. You look at tackles for loss, you have sacks. Grayer's third, Turner's fourth. Grayer was half a sack behind the two leaders. Turner was 1.5 back. You look at interceptions. Kansas State's DJ Reed had 8, and then there are a host of players with 7, including Kerry Green. So, we did well, I think, as you're seeing comparing to NCAA leaders. We got quite a few guys up there in several statistics. Reed had 23 pass breakups. That's pretty impressive. Forced fumbles, someone had 8. Fumble recoveries, 4. You can see there are a few safeties this season, and Christian Byram from Old Dominion had 4 defensive touchdowns. Reed had 3. There are a bunch more with 2. Kicking wise, we're going to check sort by field goals made. No one had more than 25 made. The most attempts was 33. You're looking at kicking percentage. Kubander from Northwestern had 95 field goal percentage. The Michigan kicker had 92. And you can see there are a few blocked field goals. As now we are going. Actually, I think that'll do it for this one. We checked all the NCAA leaders, so that'll do it for me. Next up is the off season. I will see you for that. But that'll do it for me, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.